Hi, I'm Casey, and this is the Wrexie Pod. It's the first episode, so I hope you'll give me a little bit of grace. This has been a lot of fun learning how to put together a podcast, and I'm sure it's going to get a lot better over time. But this episode, we're going to talk about the Ipswich match that happened on Saturday. We're going to talk about the Portsmouth match that's happening today. And I realized as I edited that I did not give any credit to the women's team who had an amazing win this week, and they won the Gennaro tournament. I'm looking up information about it because I don't really know a lot about the tournaments, which is probably going to be a learning session in a future episode. But the women defeated Cardiff City in the Gennaro Adrian Trophy final. I did watch the highlights of it. It was an amazing match. They came from behind to tie it up and force it to penalties, and then they won in walk-off fashion in the penalties. So very exciting for them, very happy for them. I think there are ways to watch those matches. I'm going to look those up in the future. But the rest of the episode is focused on the men's team and what's coming up this week, including a preview of what's going to be an amazing match against Chelsea in a couple weeks at the racecourse in the FA Cup. So I hope you'll give me a chance. I hope you'll check it out. I hope you'll subscribe, give me some feedback, and we're going to keep making this thing better. Welcome to the Wrexie Show featuring Casey. Wrexie is here, calm as ever. I'm Casey, and I'm a lifelong American sports fan. I love football and baseball and basketball. I still can't believe this Welsh soccer club is the thing that hooked me and has just grabbed my sports fandom more than anything else, except my teams that I grew up with. But also not being much of a soccer fan for most of my life, that it's interesting to learn a new sport. I understood the fundamentals of soccer. You can't use your hands, stuff like that. But I mean, I never played it. So strategy and, the kind of common things in the game, I'm learning those. And it's really exciting. It's super fun. So that's what I'm focused on. That's what I'll talk about. And each week we try to learn something new or ask people about something that I don't know. And just try to learn the game of soccer more and more each week along the way. So Saturday, I got up early, made coffee, Wrexie, took Wrexie on a walk. I shouldn't say I walked Wrexie, right? She's the host of the show, but got up, we took our long walk, coffee was brewing, and then got into the match against Ipswich. So and that's also, a goofy word for me. That's not a Ipswich. I got to really think about it when I'm saying it to make sure I think that I'm saying it right. But yeah, it was a really fun match. It was very entertaining. Lots of goals were scored, 8 goals total between both teams. And, it was a lot of action, but it was kind of an interesting journey too, as a fan watching it, as a supporter, and still learning, how these things go. Is so many matches are, to me, very low scoring. 1-0, 1-0, whatever. 2-1 maybe. 3 goals in a match feels like a lot. And to have 8, it was very exciting. And it was also a bit of a roller coaster. Wrexham scored, and then Ipswich scored, and then Wrexham scored, and then Ipswich scored. And then so halftime it's 2-2 and they come out, it's all tied. And then they were able to, I think they traded goals again early in the second half. And then Wrexham was able to take the lead late and then get an extra insurance goal there right towards the end. So Kiefer Moore got the goals started. And I remember watching that thinking, as he was bringing the ball, down the pitch, up the pitch, he's normally, at least to me, the player who is up close to the goalie or back close to the keeper. And he's really, he seems like he's a really tall guy, really big fella. So to me, he's getting in the way, blocking the goalie, but also then he has an opportunity for headers and rebounds and things like that. So it was interesting to see him bring the ball down the pitch and then just hit a screamer right past the keeper. And it was really exciting. It was a cool bang bang play and exciting to watch. And then there were a number of other goals, of course, but it was just really exciting, that first one. And it's the one that stuck out in my mind most, I think. That, and then maybe Callum Doyle's. He's a fun player to watch, and it was exciting to see him get the goal, the go-ahead goal speak American, to speak English, American sports fan anyway, the go-ahead goal. So it was really cool. Moving on, I think it's cool and important to note that Ipswich Town was in the Premier League last season. So Wrexham has faced them 3 times, twice in league play and then once in the FA Cup. And so to be 2-1, I guess, and 1, right? I think the first one was a draw. So that's a big deal. I mean, that team's a good team. And per the standings, that team's ahead of Wrexham. That Ipswich is in 4th, I think, and that's going to be a big deal, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. All right, talking about looking ahead now, Wrexham's next match is going to be on Tuesday, and on Tuesday they take on Portsmouth. We're going to figure out the pronunciation in these places, but Wrexham currently sits in 6th with 51 points, and Portsmouth is in 19th with 39 points. So these are 2 teams in very different positions in the league. Wrexham sits currently in a playoff position for promotion, and Portsmouth is only a couple spots away from facing relegation. So this is probably a really important match for both teams, which is another really cool thing. And we get into this sometimes is in American sports, if you are in 3rd to last or 4th to last or whatever it is with 12 matches to go, there's not always incentive to do your best. There's not always incentive to get the win. In fact, in many cases, there's a disincentive to winning. And the teams that want to get a better draft pick may sit their best players and may not put forth their best effort in hopes of an advantage the following season. But in the English structure and other places around the world, that's a problem. You can't just tank, because if you tank too much, you're facing relegation. You're facing massive changes to your business, to your team, to your finances, to your fan base, and you can't mail it in. You have to keep fighting. You have to keep battling. So the competition level is significantly higher. And the strategy, the willingness to play on exists the entire season, which I think is great. So that was a long way of saying I don't know a lot about Portsmouth, but we did try to do a little research, and other than that they're not having a great season, they need to really work hard to make sure that they're getting where they need to go. So as I learn about Wrexham's opponents, I'm trying to educate myself a little bit about the different towns and the clubs that they're playing. So this week, since they're playing Portsmouth, here's a little bit of information about them. So Portsmouth's off the south coast of England, or on the south coast of England, pardon me. It has a population of approximately 205,000 people. It is one of the UK's most important naval cities and home to a major Royal Navy base. So it has a strong maritime history going back centuries. It sounds like next year, if Portsmouth and Wrexham play, this would be an awesome place to see a road match. I'm going to have to look up their stadium. Speaking of that, their stadium is Fratton Park. It is or was built or founded in 1898. Wow, okay, very, very old. Its nickname is the Pompey, and the team colors are blue. So, a lot of culture, it says here, that back in 49 and 50, they won the First Division Championship. They won the FA Cup in 1939 and then in 2008. And the last time they were in the Premier League was the season in 2009 to 2010. They are a former club that was up at the top. And so they are not an underdog by any stretch of the imagination. Oh yeah, Fratton Park looks like a really cool place to go see a match. It looks like it's pretty well covered for the fans and the supporters. Super nice pitch. Yeah, I bet that'd be a super cool place to go see a match. The notes here show me that they may have a history that could be similar to Wrexham's. It says that they ran into some financial troubles in the 2010s, so pretty recently, right? And they were relegated a couple times and have rebuilt themselves up from League Two. So if they've recently been promoted back to the championship, that sounds very similar to Wrexham's journey on maybe a slightly different timeline. So I hope all of that is correct. Definitely did not check my sources on this. Okay, next up, a league reset. So the championship currently sits top six. Number one, Coventry with 65 points. Middlesbrough with 62 points. Millwall has 56 points. Ipswich, who just lost to Wrexham, has 54. Hull has 54. And Wrexham has 51. So Wrexham is definitely entrenched in the playoff spot, or a potential playoff spot. Certainly if the season ended today, they would be in a playoff spot. They have proven that they are here to compete, and this is a really exciting situation because even when you look below Wrexham, just directly behind them is Birmingham with 49, and Derby with 48, and Watford and Preston also both have 48. It's going to be tight. It's going to come down to the wire. This is super exciting. Wrexham could, finish in a number of different places. And this end of the season, I think there's 10 or 11 more matches, and all of them are going to be very important. Now, Wrexham's fortunate that their next couple of opponents after, including Portsmouth, are not necessarily having the seasons that they want to have, but they still have to battle, because if they slip too far, they could be facing relegations. So Wrexham's not going to be facing anybody who has already mailed it in. So speaking of that, each week or each episode, I want to identify something that I'm learning about either soccer, Wrexham, football, Europe, whatever. And this week I want to talk about why draws matter. So ties matter. They're really important. And as an American, as a football fan of U.S. football and baseball and these sports, there are very few ties, or really in some sports there are no ties, right? There's no ties in basketball. There's no ties in baseball. There can be ties in football, not necessarily all levels of football, but the NFL at least, right? There can be and are occasionally ties in NFL games. And even hockey has the ties do have value, unlike, football. And then of course it's impossible in the other two sports, or a lot of the other sports. So why ties matter is because your overall record does not matter. Wrexham's wins and losses, I don't even know their wins and losses, although after this, I'm 100% going to tally them up. Wins as a number doesn't mean anything. It's all based on points. So a win is super important, and you want to win all of your matches, because for each win, you get 3 points. If you draw or tie a match, each team gets 1 point. And then, of course, if you lose the match, you get no points. So wins are preferred. Wins are the best. Draw, in some cases, can feel like a win. If and when there are matches, and there have been Wrexham matches where maybe they gave up a goal late and they're playing away from Wrexham, from the race course. Maybe if you can get a tie, feels almost like a win, because you maybe didn't play well and you were on the road, and hey, you know what? You got out of a really bad situation with a point. That feels like a win, versus, of course, a loss where you don't get any points. So wins do help you in the standings. Draws help you in the standings, and wins do as well, but at a different value, right? A different velocity. So in American sports, largely are undervalued or not valued at all, because they're not even possible in a lot of sports. And then also because in football, they don't help you at all in football, really, to speak of. So anyway, I think that to a lot of Americans that may watch soccer and football, and they may think, why would I watch an entire 90-minute plus match that could end in a tie? Like, what's the point? Who cares? And that's totally valid. But I think that if you are aware that a tie has a lot of value and in some ways can feel like a win, or can influence the standings, then I think that you understand that those ties really can be, wow, I can't talk. Those ties are important. And once you watch more, you kind of get the hang of it. So to close it up this week, I want to just talk about the Hollywood angle of all of this. It's shocking in the most amazing way to see Wrexham in 6th this late in the season. I am so new to being a supporter and understanding how these things work, but the people that follow much more closely than I do and have for a long time all really kind of warned me or cautioned me, like, hey, they said a lot of teams that move up into the championship get relegated back the next season to League One. I was like, okay, you know, that makes sense, right? That's a big jump. That's really hard on them. A lot of people were telling me not only does Wrexham have a real chance at being relegated, but, you know, finishing top half would be insane. And here we are, and they're in a position to have a chance to compete for the third or even one of the top two promotion spots. I'm not trying to predict something. I'm not trying to say I think that this will happen. I don't know shit from shampoo when it comes to the inner workings of championship level soccer. But if the season ended right now, they're in the tournament. And that's crazy because what they've done in the last 3 seasons has never been done. And then as if the Hollywood script could not have been any more perfect, Wrexham advances to the 5th round of the FA Cup tournament. They're going to play Chelsea at the race course. That's crazy. I don't even understand how crazy it is because I don't know enough about Chelsea to fully grasp it, but I know that it's crazy. I know that this is beyond anything anybody could ever hope for. And I am so ready for that match on March 7th. I'm excited to watch it with some people that I really care about, that are smart, that have helped me kind of grow some of my soccer fandom. They're big Chelsea supporters, or at least some of them are. So this is going to be a really exciting thing to watch with some other people, to witness. And I mean, holy smokes, like who would have thought Wrexham would be where they are now? So who knows what could happen? Who knows what could happen when Chelsea comes there? I'm just so excited for it. I'm just excited to witness it, and it's going to be really special. This whole ride has been really special. And I think as we have more episodes, we're going to talk more about why this has been so special and the most perfect show at the most perfect time for me in my life. But I know that the ride that we're on right now is legendary. This is one of the most special stories in all of sports history, and we're in the middle of it. So I'm leaning in. I'm just along for the ride. This has been very, very special, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. So thanks for spending some time with Wrexie and I today. I appreciate that you're joining this ride with us. Wrexham's story isn't over, and neither is ours. So until next time, up the town.